Shedeur Sanders, Fan Files. $100 million lawsuit against NFL claiming emotional distress. Overdraft, snub, in what might go down as one of the most bizarre intersections of sports fandom and the American legal system. A devoted supporter of college football star Shedeur Sanders has filed a $100 million lawsuit against the NFL, accusing the league of inflicting emotional distress and trauma by allowing Sanders to slip to the fifth round of the 2025 NFL Draft. Yes, you read that right. The lawsuit, filed by a man identifying only as John Doe, is not a satirical stunt or online hoax. It's a federal court case now winding through the system, and it lays out one of the most audacious claims in recent sports history, that the NFL collectively conspired to downgrade Sanders' draft stock, costing the quarterback tens of millions in earnings and causing Doe himself to suffer intense psychological damage as a fan and consumer of the league. It was immediate frustration, Doe told The Independent, explaining why he took the extraordinary step of suing the most powerful sports league in America. This guy was projected to be the first or second pick, top 5 at the very worst, and to watch him fall behind players who are, quite frankly, average at best, that was mentally exhausting. It broke something in me. Doe, a 55-year-old small business owner in the Atlanta metro area, has no personal relationship with Shedeur Sanders or his famous father, NFL Hall of Famers and current Colorado Buffaloes head coach Deion Sanders. But what he does have is passion, a wild, consuming belief that something deeply unjust happened on draft weekend, and someone needed to hold the NFL accountable. On April 27th, the Cleveland Browns selected Shedeur Sanders with the 144th overall pick, a fifth-rounder, the same Sanders who torched defenses for Colorado during the 2023 and 2024 seasons, the same quarterback who was once projected as a top 5 pick, the same player who, in his father's first game coaching Colorado, threw for over 500 yards and lit the college football world on fire. But things soured as the pre-draft process unfolded. Reports emerged alleging Sanders had flubbed interviews, approached team meetings with an air of entitlement, and acted as though he were being recruited rather than evaluated. He didn't understand the assignment, one unnamed NFL executive told NBC Sports. He acted like this was college all over again. That's not how it works here. And yet, for Doe, none of that justified the fall. The NFL owners colluded to keep him down, he argued in his lawsuit. That's the only explanation. There was too much talent, too much production for that slide to be anything but coordinated. To support his bold claim, Doe cites the Sherman Antitrust Act. Yes, the same federal law designed to break up monopolies and prevent corporate collusion. According to the lawsuit, the NFL's team owners conspired to restrain trade and limit competition within the league, effectively sabotaging Sanders' draft stock. He goes even further, alleging the possibility of racial bias and asserting that the league misrepresented Sanders' character through what he calls slanderous and harmful narratives. For the emotional toll this all took, Doe is seeking $100 million in damages, not just for himself, but also to cover what he estimates Sanders lost in contract value. Chris Carter, speaking candidly on the Art of Dialogue podcast, guessed Sanders' draft fall cost him roughly $50 million in earnings. When asked by The Independent whether he'd consider giving some of that money to Sanders if he wins the case, Doe replied, "I'd probably donate some of it to youth football leagues. Let it inspire the next Shedeur Sanders." The lawsuit, unsurprisingly, has been met with skepticism, ridicule, and outright dismissal by legal experts. UCLA law professor Eugene Volokh, writing for Reason, called it frivolous and said the case has no standing whatsoever. The emotional distress claim, he added, is legally shaky at best and constitutionally dubious at worst. The court is likely to toss this immediately. Still, John Doe is undeterred. He's filed the case pro se, meaning he's representing himself, citing financial limitations and an attempt to shield his business from unwanted publicity. A federal magistrate has allowed him to proceed under the pseudonym John Doe and without paying the initial court fees, though it remains to be seen how long the case will remain active on the docket. "I know I'm just one guy," he told reporters, "but sometimes one guy has to take a stand. That stand," he says, "is about more than Sanders. It's about fans having a voice. It's about accountability. It's about telling the billion-dollar machine of the NFL that it can't just steamroll over narratives and careers without consequence. I want the NFL to acknowledge the harm they caused, not just to Shedeur, but to fans like me," the suit demands. Among other remedies, debts you.